Computer. Lights.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday to you. Today, we're going to work on springs, which means I probably should open a springs file. That's important. We're also going to work a little bit on website problems that I'm having because I'm trying to get my website back up and running. And that's awesome sauceum. And there we go. We will start by working on opening bits and pieces here, apparently. And we are headed over to the Springs folder. It's been a while since I've worked on Springs. All right, loading the Springs Daily Master. There we go. We'll switch over to my monitor. Work. So for those of you who have never watched my show before, this is my master file for my Springs comic. Up here, I've got some Calvin and Hobbes and some Peanuts just to make sure that I've got the right pin width set, because you want to make sure that your pin is set for the right width, right? So we want to make sure that it looks about the same. And we usually have to dink with it a little bit to get it going in the right way. Up here is my color palette for all my characters to make sure that I'm doing them correctly. And then down here, of course, is the main area. So I think no matter which way, the moment that I save this as a PSD, it flattens all of the text in here, which is really, really annoying. Really, really irritating. So the other thing we're going to work on today is that cover that we were doing before. Clip Studio Paint, open this one so that we've got this cover as well. We're going to work on this today once it loads, which could take weeks. It'll get there. It's going to get there. It'll get there. Doing good. Oh, wait. We probably should get it out of that mode first so we can load it. I always kind of wonder about these things. All right, let's do this first. Let's save as so that we know what number we're on. We're on 253, right? There we go. Save that first. And this guy is number 253. And now we've got it up here. We'll say it right up in this corner. You can't really read it because of the quality. Hello, Brent. But interestingly, we have already done one Springs comic in September, so we're ahead. Like Colorado Springs, that's totally what it is. You're totally near here. Totally. You don't know anything about this comic strip at all. I am, however, irritated that it's not loading the thing I want to work on today, which is that cover. I also want to work on this cover. I don't know why it wasn't loading it before. It's not loading it. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. For a minute there, I was like, why are you not loading this? This is so very strange. There we go. We're going to work on this cover today, too. Because this is I've rebuilt my website over the weekend, which allows me to, I fixed a couple of very critical problems. One of the most critical problems we ran into was that it couldn't accept commissions. So if you went to the contact me for a commission and typed in all your information and hit send, it went nowhere. And I didn't know that because it went nowhere. So I have worked really hard to get my commissions page rebuilt correctly. And now the commissions page is correct and working at gsdavisart.com. So I have rebuilt it. But in the process of rebuilding everything, I noticed that like Bellatrix Rising was number 57 on the upper header, and like it wasn't really 57, but it was way at the end, with On Orbit being like the first comic you see from left to right. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. On Orbit was a cute little thing I was doing with Lego Men for a while there. And I actually am going to probably redo it now that I've actually set up a filming zone over here, so to speak. Might have been. I don't know. It won't actually send messages to my Foxtail Graphics email or to my GS Davis Art email. It will send it to my Gmail, though. So I don't know. I don't know what the settings were. It sends the emails to my Gmail account, which is fine. What I did was just set up my Gmail account with special folders that say, if it comes in with this code word, and then promptly had it put this code word in the subject line so that it will sort it into the correct places so that I can see whether I'm getting jobs from my photography side or whether I'm getting jobs from my art side, because those are the two things I do. I do commission work and I do photography work. So we're going to do a little of both today. We're going to do all drawing today. We're not going to do commission work. So yeah, sure. I mean, it works right now. I'm happy. It does its job. The problem is that the Bellatrix Rising page has nothing on it. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't go anywhere. There's no comics. Obviously, there's no comics yet. One of the reasons I use my website, and the primary reason I use my website, is to post pages for dissemination amongst my social media. For those of you who are not familiar, and I noticed I had this discussion yesterday on webcomic creators. And I'm back. There we go. Who knew? So yeah. So it looks like that's what this Monday is going to be. Okay, for those of you who are not familiar with my show, I apparently have a lousy upload connection. And so sometimes in the middle of the show, my show just dies and then restarts and then dies again and restarts. No, I'm getting the warnings that my streams are failing all over the place and things like that. It's not you, Brent. Just hang out with me there. If I do die, then just post a whole bunch of stuff there and keep people entertained. I'm kidding. Don't really. Okay, back to what I was saying. So I use my website primarily for one major job, and that is, and up until recently, and that was to you got to do the dance though with the the hat. Oh, by the way, computer broadcast lights are different colors. I don't know why I'm not going to different colors for my broadcast lights. It's very weird. So I use my website to disseminate my comic pages, and they go to all of the different locations. They go to Facebook and Instagram, and they post automatically. And I use the auto poster function in my website to automatically post it so that I can write 10 or 15 pages of my comic and then have the auto poster automatically run it at 6 a.m. on Monday morning or whenever is the best time. And then that way I don't have to remember to do it, and I can take days off if I want to, and things like that. And I think legitimately I can do 2 pages a week, and that gives enough time and buffer zone to build up enough extra pages to be able to do that with some regularity. However, that means that I must make the pages, which is what we're going to be doing soon. And what's going to happen now is that people are going to go to my website to look at all of my old comics that have been in there. So I've moved Witches of Flame out of the primary location into my memories folder, which is comics that were started but have been on hold for one reason or another. Right now, Witches of Flame really does talk a whole lot like Apple Plus's For All Mankind. And I think I feel kind of like right now, For All Mankind is doing a better job of telling the story than I was with Witches of Flame. So I'm going to have to come up with a new angle for Witches if I want to continue on with that one, which is not a problem, but it's all going to have to come to me somewhere. So it doesn't really matter. I'm going to stay with Bellatrix Rising for a while. So there we go. So that's where we are. I've moved Bellatrix Rising to the front of the queue with Springs the second position, and then the rest of them are from that point forward. So there we go. Again, that's gsdavisart.com, and you can go there and look at what I'm working on. So, in the meantime, I'm noticing George has been tearing up my stool, which is irritating because I need that to, otherwise I can't. He needs to stop attacking things. Past, I don't even know where he went. He's probably napping now. He's caused enough destruction. He's caused enough, damage. So now he's gone off to take a nap. It's my cat, folks. Okay. Still haven't quite thought up a good joke for this guy yet. I think it's probably going to involve pillows. Trying to sleep on pillows. I have to think it out, though. All right, we will just clean my monitor real quick. Always want to. These monitors attract dust like mad. And when you have, monitors attract dust to begin with. But when you have a monitor that's like this, which is angled, it just attracts, because the dust rains on it, Rain down upon me. Rain down. All right. So I feel like I have kind of I don't know how somewhere on the line, but you know what? I always feel like our AR is like one of the main characters somehow, and he really wasn't supposed to be. We'll put in Don Q. Let's give him some mobility. Poor Don Q doesn't have a lot of mobility. He should have more mobility. He can. Make him a little larger here. And the best part about doing all this digitally is that I can correct things like the fact that Don Q is still markedly larger than TB has always been. There we go. Copy this guy. And then the punchline. All right. We're going to so that there's movement between the two. Uh-huh. Right, back to the, we don't actually remember what font you were at, so you'll have to redo it every time. How do I get this to remember where we are? There. Okay. This guy's probably a little big there, so we will go back through and extra support. Looks like it's going to have to, the support is going to have to go on another line. This, by the way, is called Widow Orphan. Look at that. I mean, it's a solid block of text, but there we go. I bet you I can even cut this down a little bit more. There we go. Kind of shaving it down a little. So the preview still shows Bellatrix Rising. Why does the preview still show me that the preview's frozen? Am I frozen, Brent? Have I been frozen for like the last however long? Let me turn off and turn on my preview. Because it looks like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off my virtual camera and reboot the virtual camera. Give me just a second here. Nope, I don't think that was it. So Brent, I don't know if you can, I mean, are you still showing Bellatrix Rising on here? Or are you showing the Springs comic? Because you should be showing a Springs comic. In fact, just type in yes or Y if you can see the Springs comic. That's all I need, because I know you're probably busy at the moment. And so when you have a moment, okay. So as long as you see me, we're good. Well, you should see me in the corner. Okay, good. Cool. Then the studio's Whatsits is frozen, but that's okay. All right. The old joke with dear old TB is that he always overdoes it. That's a given with him. So we're going to give him a ton of pillows here, because it's not funny if he doesn't go way over the top. Right? Perfect. 5 by 5, huh? I'm just going to clean up these pillows a little bit. It's not. So my great grandmother used to call them pillars because she was from Arkansas. And so she would constantly say things like, hand me them pillars over there. And we thought that was the funniest thing ever as kids, but now I kind of find it endearing. You know, of course, she passed away in like 90, I want to say 92, 93, in 1993. 4 by 4. So there we go. Somebody's pinging me. I have no idea who it's. Oh. It is, in fact, my dear friend Brian, who's been drawing like a madman. Yeah, part of the humor and love of TB is his entire over-the-topedness that he does of everything. He is completely and totally over the top every time. There we go. There's too many extras in here. So I want to do more. There we go. That's better. You don't want to repeat words. That's one of those weird rules of writing in English that we don't think about, but it's definitely a rule. And that is, we don't repeat words, repeat words repetitively while repeating them repeatedly. Because it sounds weird. It always sounds funky. All right. I like the fact that somehow TB has a back. I mean, I think if anything, the best joke about this whole thing is that TB has a back that got knocked out. He's a tennis ball, a floating ball. How does he have a back? It's classic Springs in that we don't talk about that. We just don't. We don't discuss it. Naturally, he has a back. It's like them carrying things. How does TB carry stuff? We don't talk about it. What happens is TB just floats around with the thing stuck to him, and that's the way it works. He's got a pin, so he just floats around with a pen. Then he writes with it, and he just floats and writes with it. It's like that's the nature of the beast, and I think that's one of the funnier things about Springs that cracks me up every time. Okay, zooming in. TB, you look terrible. What's going on? So there is a function for making balloons, and I absolutely don't use it for Springs, and it's because I like making my own balloons for Springs. There's no logic behind it. Right? I don't know why. He's a flying tennis ball. It's what TB stands for. He thinks it stands for Tiberius, though. Which there we go. The bubbles are in. The bubbles are in. And they're wrong. Because the bubbles need to be 18. They need to be old enough to drive, man. By the way, I am writing this entire comic because my back has been in serious pain for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Hence the entire standing desks thing, which, by the way, the standing desks have actually helped my back a lot. Not sitting. Right, well, that's exactly why he thinks it's Tiberius, by the way, is Captain Kirk. He thinks his name is Tiberius, like Captain Kirk. Whose name is Tiberius? And that's important. He is indeed supposed to go to... I don't know if he's going to make it to the Karman limit, though. Blue Origin has not exactly gotten too terribly high up. I think it's interesting, though, that I think part of this was whether he was going to be paid for it or not. And I think he's going to be paid for it because he's right. He is totally right. Bill Shatner in a rocket going to space is going to be a major media frenzy. So he's completely spot on in that he's going to be worth his weight in gold on that rocket. And so he's making them pay him to go up, which makes sense. And I know that people are like, but that's so greedy. And I'm like, it's not really. I mean, having Bill Shatner on a rocket is a major deal. All the Trekkies are going to watch. The news is going to be there. Everybody's going to be very, very interested in that. So naturally, he's not stupid. He should charge them for it. Especially since we are talking about people who literally built rockets to go to space. So it's not like they're hurting for money. Multi-billionaires here who have a lot of money. So it's a thing. So do I. I mean, that said, and this is not going to sound good at all, and I admit it openly. However, if something does go wrong, that is a very fitting way for Captain Kirk to go out, which means this is sort of a win-win. It will be horrible. It will be a terrible, terrible thing. It will not be a good thing at all. However, honestly, if it was me and if I was in his place, that'd be the way I'd be looking at it. Is, I've done good in my life. I'm at 90 at this point in time. If this ends here, this is the way for Captain Kirk to end. And a space accident would make sense. If it were me, that'd be what I'd be thinking. I know it's horrible to say that, and I feel terrible saying it. On the other hand, that would be the ideal way for me to go out at 90. I would totally do that. That'd be great. That'd be the way to go. I mean, already my family and I have had discussions about the fact that, right. I mean, it's a horrible dark humor thing, and I know that. And like I said, I feel terrible saying it. But the reality is, I mean, I would love to go out that way. Put me on a rocket, The rocket lifts off, something goes wrong. Yeah. That would be ideal for me. I mean, the ideal situation would, of course, be to get on a rocket, go to space, have fun, do all kinds of cool stuff, maybe do some science experiments, things like that. Definitely take one of my starships and float them in front of the camera so it just sits there and floats, because that'd be kick butt, right? I mean, I'm not saying that I do that, but I'd totally do that. I'd totally do that. I take this guy as part of my required space equipment and stuff, and then I'd sit there and I'd just take it and then I'd float it by the camera, right? Because I mean, like, totally, that'd be so cool, right? Float it by the camera, have it float this way, and then float this way. I mean, don't think I wouldn't do that. I would so do that. We have that big ship. I totally take this ship and have it float this way, and then float this way, and then float this way. I mean, I would have so much fun. I would totally. Most certainly. Oh gosh, I hope so. If he doesn't, I'll be somewhat disappointed. Although, to be fair, Bill Shatner isn't exactly what I would call a Trekkie. Him himself, he's never been a Trekkie. He doesn't watch himself. He's seen some of the other shows, but he's not a Trekkie in himself, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but I wouldn't expect him to bring a model of the Enterprise up with him. That seems... Ooh. He's not a Trekkie. Right? You bring up the Reliant and the Enterprise and have them just like floating next to each other and flinging things at each other. They'd be like, "Stop shooting M&Ms at each other. Oh my God," you know. I don't know. I'd be torn also between like taking a D7. I'd probably take a D7 up there. There's something super classy about the Klingon D7. It's a very classy ship. I'd probably take a D7 up there. Matt Jeffries, absolutely awesome D7s. When I was a kid, I always had a Federation D7 because I loved, well, yeah, of course it would be. I loved the look of the Klingon D7. But of course, by my nature, I don't like to be anything but the good guys. So I tend to want to always play the Federation. And so I had a Federation D7 that was stolen from the Klingons, so that I could then always have myself a D7. If I ever go to space, my friend, I will take an X-Wing just for you. Although I might take a B-Wing. Because, I mean, really, B-Wings are cool. Just saying. Or an A-Wing. Because this guy, you know, especially since when I went to the store, they had two. One of the good things about the new movies, there were no blue A-Wings, and I finally got me a blue A-Wing out of the new series of shows, new series of movies. All right, start always with the closest things. You know what? Let's do this way. Yeah. I don't, it's one of those things. I don't particularly know if I care that much about being the anti-hero. I mean, I like anti-heroes and stories, but personally, I'm not too big on them myself. As far as like playing them in role-playing games and stuff like that. It's one of the reasons when Destin was talking about playing an all Klingon adventure, I just wasn't that interested. Absolutely adore Destin's GMing and his stories, and he does an excellent job, and I'm sure I would have enjoyed it, but it was hard for me to get the pulse of the character. I understand that it also means that likely you can always count on my character to be the good guy. I mean, I get that, which makes me somewhat predictable. I also get that. But, everybody has their thing. Not gonna lie, I kind of wouldn't mind this many ridiculous pillows. Really? There we go. A ridiculous number of pillows. Uh-oh. Keep pausing, huh? Well, this time I'm not seeing the green lights that say that I'm at broadcast are not turning yellow. So, but here again, it's still frozen on our initial page. So I don't know if that means good or bad or. Q's primary colors. And his secondary color. And his tertiary color. It could be, but I mean, I'm just, I don't know. I can't read I'm not 100% sure. No, I've got a yellow on here now. Got a couple of yellow bars, so I may be in a broadcast Zorch again. Anyway, always something funny about the idea that not only is his back's out, I think that's hysterical. All right, now things become completely random and entertainingly so, right? We have a palette that I've been using for springs. And I'm limited to this palette intentionally so that everything is sort of in a coordination of some sort, right? All of these are color coded. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to do the shadow layer. You know how this goes. You come in here, bring up the brush size. And just go through here. What we're doing is just putting in shadows. The best part is these pillows are going to be already messed up. I mean, not messed up, but like they're floofed on top of one another. So I don't have to worry about being exactly accurate. Any good shadow is going to make it look right, you know, because they're floofed and they're together and they're all like stacked and stuff. So I'm not going to have to concentrate on exactly where all the shadows go on this. Him, though, I'm going to have to make sure I've got the actual thing here. And it's going to be time for us to take a break in a second here. There we go, just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that I've got all the left edges of these pillows clearly defined. And let's get some of the stuff where it's like, cut on top like that a little bit. And make sure we just have some of this before we go to break.
It's time to take a quick break.
Here's our break call. There we go. Just clean it up a little bit. All right, guys, it's time for us to take a quick break, which means get up, walk around. For those of you not at standing desks, get up and stretch. If you put your hands above your head, don't put them into the fan because that would suck. Just saying, bend one way, bend the other way. Forward, back, twist. There you go. Go for a quick little jaunt. My kiddo's been working on his room, so I actually can walk all the way to his room and all the way back. I'm amazed. Okay, so now we're back into drawing. At this point in time, by the way, we can clear the blue line. There's no need for that. Still going in here. And I'll touch up some of this. Let's give it a little bit of touch up. come in here real quick. Do this. Okay, now we'll put in the highlight layer. I'm going to have to go back and clean this guy up quite a bit. There we go. Who calls at 10:06. I think he thinks that I'm out at 10. Oh. But I'll tell him, not out until... There we go. Sent him a message saying, not at a show until 11. Yeah. People forget. I noticed a lot. Like, it's hard. People who stream, this is not perceived as a real job or anything like that, which is understandable. I totally get that. But it's important, and it's important to me to get the work done, because otherwise I won't get the work done. He didn't know I did this so early in the morning. 10 is early in the morning. Okay. we'll go in here. And underneath here, we will add another layer. And this one will be my gradient. Right, and we can, nope, that wasn't what I wanted. Hey, that's cool though. We need to isolate first. All right. And I'm cool with this color combo. That was a cool color combo. Maybe going this way would be better. There. And anytime we have yellow on there, the opposite of yellow tends to be, a blue of some sort. So I actually try to add some different colors to kind of offset it. Like a purple is good too. So like this indicates kind of and he's out of whack. So let's do that. And now we can see that we have bled over with our highlight pen, but that's okay. Now, if I go green with this, I got to kind of go a light green, a very, very light green. Otherwise, it really, kind of stands out. On cue. Actually, let's go ahead and take this and make this like a yellow. There we go. And it looks like the highlights are the major problem we have to deal with here. So let's go back through with the eraser and just kill off these highlights. I could select them. Honestly, there's only a couple of little places where they ran over that you can see. So it's not really worth it that much. There we go, guys. Only thing left is to put the number on here. Because this is number 253. Now we have to go set this for Arial. Excuse me. That was a sudden sneeze. And we can kill this layer. And 253 can just live right here. And then we'll save it again. And now we'll set it up to be rigged for release. And turn off that. And that. There we go. And then we will change image size, change canvas size. So there. Okay. Okay. And then we will resize the entire thing. Well, first we'll actually Control-Shift-E. That makes it so that everything here is There we go. And we'll say no. Change image resolution because we want the height to be 628. Oh, good. Look at that. Now we're going to see whether Facebook says, but it's got to be 1200 instead of, it's got to be 1198, which is what it usually says. So I don't get it. And then we say save as. And under the save as function, we say PNG. And we save it as a PNG. All right. All righty. Now we can work on Bellatrix Rising. And hey, now my preview matches this, which is great. What we're going to need first is to open her color codes. Because she has color codes, and they are good ones. There's her color codes. We'll need those to live. Before we go anywhere. Because we will need this guy here, because it looks like, not exactly sure what happened here, but she's moved, I think. I moved her down. Yeah, it looks like I moved her down. I'm going to take those two and move them. Positioned like this. This is a cover, not a page. So I'm actually kind of getting a little tired, so I'm going to move. Right? Except that you'd think that Kevin would know, Mr. I get up at 5 a.m. to work 6 to 2 so that I don't have to be out in the heat, which is why he works 6 to 2. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take her. We're going to duplicate her layer. Put that under there so we can color code stuff, right? Because we need her skin to be like this, and this, and this, and this, and that, and that, and that. And that's all the skin that's generally exposed in our spacesuits. Get her eyes the right color. Right. Go. Our primary is this color. Nope. There we go. Here and there. And there and there. There. Yes. And here, here, and here, which makes that, and that. Okay. Kind of hard because I'm trying to figure out what the. And then her division color is this. Every other part of her. And I got to figure out what that third color is there. Yeah, well, we'll come up with that in a second. And then all of her buttons undo. Let's see her other. Nope. Okay. Some cleanup here. Make sure we hit all of the little spots. There we go. All right, grab my coffee. All right. Oh, we need to go in there. Now we need to fix bits and pieces like Scalia will always be the wrong color. Undo. You, technical pin, let's bring you down from like something ridiculous. Yeah. We also make sure that like all of the things underneath here, eyebrows always get screwed up. Hair in general will always get screwed up because there's always just sort of a flip thing going. That's an important technical term. Flip. Very technical. All right. All right. And when it comes to coloring, I always go from hardest to easiest, or from easiest to hardest. I mean, for example, there is a lot less skin on these skin suits than there is like skin suits. So the spacesuit goes last. The colors for the spacesuit are always last. The reason we're doing this, by the way, I know you were just asking about pages, why we're not doing pages, is because this is the representation of Bellatrix Rising on the website, which is none right now. Nothing is in that Bellatrix Rising section. So I want to put a picture out there that indicates this artwork, or this comic anyway. Something to represent this comic, which is what we're doing. So but I want her represented. I want this comic represented on the site. So here we are. It's also been more than once that somebody has said, "What is Bellatrix Rising?" And I've not been able to put anything out there that is safe for general consumption, because the only comic we have so far, our dear captain is not wearing anything. And so this makes this difficult to post those pages, because then people are like, okay, so you're drawing porn? No, I'm not drawing porn. So we're going to finish this guy up so that, I just might. Anything is plausible. It could happen. Hexacon's not that far away, but on the flip side, we are really, really dangerously close to a full start. That's why I'm redoing my website. That's why I'm cleaning up all of my act. Because a full start for this comic is intimidating, but not impossible. Well, definitely have color in here. Let's give her skin highlights. A lot of times we will put a really bright light over here. And what that'll do is it'll give us highlights that go along this side as well. So not just this highlight, which definitely is here. Hi, what are you doing? And why aren't you picking up? There we go. What? Did we just decide all of a sudden that we aren't doing this? Or is this a... Oh, I see. Oh, I see. We didn't actually pick up the highlight of the skin we were erasing. That was nice. Since it was a highlight, I didn't notice. It's all right. I've got better chance to do stuff now. And anyway, we will often put a pickup light over here, which we call a fill light or a hair light. It's kind of fill light and the hair light are two different things. We call it, and I suddenly just lost the name of it. That's all right. I just need to be reminded from time to time that I am not a spring chicken. It's okay. Anyway, so here we go. Key fill. It's a backlight or a hair light. Anyway, the name is irrelevant. The point being, we often will light the side of the face like that, which makes it look much cooler. Good job. Good job. There we go. All right. Nope. It's in the shadow. All right. Her hair actually should be this color, but isn't. I'm noticing, but that's okay. We'll, get there in time. Anything done to her hair is going to have to happen on top of this layer because I was a goofball and just colored her hair in so I could see what color her hair was. And I just work here. Anyway, we're going to go on ahead and just do this. no matter what. This side of her uniform right in here is totally in the shadow of this, so it doesn't matter what's going on, but right here is also going to be a shadow from both forward and backward because of the fact that her shoulder is rolled forward. So I'm going to make that work that way and go all the way under the side of her patch there. It kind of gives the impression the patch is raised slightly, like so. And that's kind of cool looking, right? And then female, even though often I've seen a lot of people draw artwork where they fill in this area with a shadow to indicate that the chest is usually uniforms just have one unit across the chest. So it doesn't actually do that effect. We'll do over here as well. Get some color over here like so. Like so. And this part glows, by the way. The green part will glow whenever put into hard vacuum. Well, I'm getting some of the areas under there cleared away. And we'll make sure we've got all the other pieces figured out. Right. I feel like that's not going to work like that. I think it's going to go more like this because her leg is turned back under her a little bit. And then we'll do this and this. There we go. And that leaves just this other wrist pin, which really should be more like this, because of the nature of how the shadows are working kind of over here, kind of in a strange way. All right, the green is in. Now we just follow suit with the blue. Nope. There we go. All of this is going to be, except for that part, right? See you tonight on Geek Tank. Have a good day at work, my friend. That's what I wanted. There we go. All right. No. No. This one. There we go. Well, we'll get there someday. It'll just be some effort. All right. Kind of going through this section here. I can see already that like some of this is going to end up being undo. That's the correct pin. Some of this section here is going to be highlighted like so. Because regardless, all of this there, all of that's going to be in the shadow of some sort. Okay, so we're going to go in through here, like that. Okay, so here's the last little bits I'm going to do. Just going to sharpen this up and bring that curve around up through here. get through the folds of her uniform. It's folding through this area. Like that. All right. Take the highlights here. Go to the Crow Quill technical pin on here, like so. Not a lot, but I want a little bit of a rim light on each side. So kind of want to give just a little bit of what's going on here. So this guy's got that's what it's called. It's called a rim light. And I don't know why I couldn't think of it. A rim light says that we've got a highlight that goes along each side. Like so. We'll come along here, just like this. Makes it so you can see like the parts of her body that are right on the edge, like so. Except that though the breast here would probably be in the highlight, only the bottom part, because the rest of this is blocked by her arm. So we can do a little bit like that to give just a little bit of definition on this side. But here's where the dramatic comes in, right? Right along her leg. Because that highlight's going to highlight right along this side of the leg. And yes, I know I've gotten in there. It's all right. And then right through here, I'm going to do a lot of like fixes in here when I get there, right? But on this side, we're also going to get that highlight right there. Not all the way up, though, because her hand is in the way. Her hand's covering up this light to some degree. So we want to make sure that we show that shadow there. Clean up here and clean up there. Do a little clean. Do a little clean up there. Okay. And then we really should put that highlight on her boot right through here, like so. And right along right there. So that's how we've done this highlighting work. And if we look here, we think about this light and where that rim light's going to be. It's not going to touch much of that front part of her arm here, but it will touch there. We have another rim light on the other side, which is really shining this part up here, right there. So we'll do that. But this light on this side right here is further forward into her face and stuff like that. So we can get a little bit more out of that rim, that light. All right, we'll come down here and right here. There we go. And naturally right here. There we go. Just like that. And this rim light won't get in here or in there. Okay. Take the gleam off of the top of her uniform and do the same thing right here. And I don't see anything else on this side that's in green. Excuse me. But I do see that. Man. All right. Now the colors look much better, and she's popping out a little. She's like popping out of the picture a lot more. This looks a whole lot better. So that's a much, much calmer and nicer way of handling things. Now we'll go in and we'll deal with her badge. Her badges are metal, so you don't end up with like straight up highlights and low lights, because that doesn't make it look metal. So metal, dude. Right? You do stuff like this and just mess with it. Right? It's like the same thing here. She doesn't, this gives it sort of a metallic pattern. And this guy might be somewhat, lined up, but the truth is we hit with a lot more like this. And the rim definitely is going to catch the rim of this, but it's also going to catch stuff like over here. And that just gives it sort of this effect that it's not flat. It's not a flat surface. It's definitely very varied. And I can go back through here and kind of mess with that. Now we're going to kind of go in there and fix that. Right. Now we'll go on ahead and fix some of the other errors that have occurred like that. And right here, because otherwise we won't have those straightened out. Little things like this actually show up and people see them. So I try to go in here and just kind of touch things, right? There we go. That's the secret to shell shading, cell shading. Okay. We're going to go through here, and I'm just going to call this stuff metal, because I think it actually probably is metallic in some way. The top parts of, and then the bottom parts of her shoe. That'll give us at least a color we can use. I end up accidentally holding my breath every time I do this. I get really in here in this tight area. But these are metallic seals. And she pinches them together. And when she does, the suit activates. All right. Now that we've done that, let's add a new layer. This layer is for highlights, specifically in her eyes. Right? We already are used to the way that the eyes work, and in manga, if they don't have highlights in their eyes, they look dead. It's a already established sort of trope that is in there, and we just sort of accept it, but it's the way it goes. Also, now that we have metal here, let's go ahead and give that some highlights. And here. Right? It's shiny. Let's make it shiny. Right? Now we'll go in and fix her hair, and this is only done because I'm an idiot, and that's really what it is. Okay, so her hair should have sort of this color going for it. All right. We're just kind of going along here and tracing this. Good news is it looks like part of her hair won't fall properly, didn't fall properly in front of her face. So adding this in actually helps us a little bit here, huh? There we go. A little bit more here, and we'll call this good. Going ahead and go all the way up over the top of her head like so. And I'm going to bring it back and then do this. And bring it under and around because I got to remember that I am not, in fact, on a layer which has sealing in here. So it's not actually sealing it up. We're going to have to come back through like so and put her hair sort of in sort of the shape that we want it to be, knowing that her hair is probably not going to highlight very well over here. So we're going to do kind of this number here. Okay. We've done that. Here's our highlight for this. And that's going to be like, whoa, undo. Totally here. Right. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Give that rim light a chance across her hair. Like so. And then just down here at the tips. We'll just do the tips. We're doing her tips. I'm just going to give just a little bit of sort of a culture here. Kind of give it a little bit a cut. Right, we're going to do this. Here we go. Same thing here. We're just going to bring this back around. I'm going to kind of do this. And that gives her body to that hair that's kind of going here. Although I'm feeling more like this is still too far forward, so I'm going to bring it back. So I feel like this is kind of on the highlight side of her hair, giving it a little bit more of a, I don't know, maybe this is probably what I'm really after. Still feel like it's not quite running like it's supposed to, so I'm going to kind of do this. There we go. That's it. Okay. Her highlight here, though, I don't feel like is actually picking up like it's supposed to on this side. So I'm going to really kind of come back around like so. I'm just looking at the rest of this. Do this here. Maybe even come back around just a hair in the front. A hair. A hair. Okay, I'm done. There we go. And maybe what we really need is to take this edge out like so. And that's probably where our problem lies. There. All right. Now she's colored in correctly. Hit save. Save our object here. It's 11 a.m. That's good work. That's work for the day, folks. It's not. I'll be working on the rest of this painting for the day, but that's okay. For right now, that's work for the day. Right? We'll go on ahead and call it for the day on this. And we'll say adios to you guys and see you tomorrow, where we will continue, we will continue working on the things that we generally work on. Until then, as I oft say, farewell, have a great day, and keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye. Computer, good night.